Welcome to That's Good Sports podcast here on the That's Good Broncos channel. I know that might confuse some of you. Oh, you call it That's Good Sports. Why are you posting it on That's Good Broncos? Well, because I have too many other fucking videos going up on That's Good Sports, and I want this channel to just have the podcast on it. I am Brandon Perna. I am here with
Will Keys.
You know him, probably. He is a writer, a podcaster, obviously. He writes for that'sgoodsports.com and I believe the New York Times, but I can't confirm that second one.
Yeah.
But this is our podcast. Today, we're going to talk, usually how it goes, we talk a bunch of Broncos shit, and then we talk a bunch of NFL shit. So today's going to be a little different. We'll start with the Broncos. Then there's... Actually, Tom Brady did something pretty funny we want to talk about. And then this week for the NFL has just been like bad news, okay? So we know Annabel Boleyn, Pat Bowlen's wife, diagnosed with Alzheimer's. That's sad news. Janoris Jenkins' brother, William Jenkins, killed Janoris Jenkins' friend at Janoris Jenkins' house. That's really shitty news. And then today it comes out that the NFL decided to suspend Jameis Winston for 3 games for grabbing a woman's crotch who was his Uber driver. And after doing more research on Jameis Winston, I believe not only should Jameis Winston not be in the fucking NFL, but he should probably be in jail. So we'll get to those. Those are, the Jameis Winston stuff's pretty heavy. We'll talk about that at the end because reading everything I did about it today just pissed me off, and I feel like I have a lot to say about it. But before we do that, let's try to have some fun today and be mildly entertaining. And that's all we promise here is mild entertainment. If you're expecting to experience joy and a ton of laughter from this podcast, like a really well-produced show, you're wrong.
No.
And before we get to Broncos and Kirk Cousins and stuff, I want to read a comment from the last podcast that should exemplify what I'm saying. Also, we're on iTunes. Give us a review there. It's on Podbean. That's Good Sports Podcast. Find it there. We need your reviews on iTunes. A lot of you did it last time. I want 1,000 reviews, and so we can crush all other Broncos and NFL podcasts. But anyway, okay, Spanky the Keeper from our last podcast, he wrote, I really like the normals That's Good Broncos videos, but honestly, these podcasts are just trash. You are good at creating edited content, but when you guys just have to talk for an hour straight with no cuts, that's really not your forte. It's mind-numbingly boring. So thank you, Spanky the Keeper.
What is he keeping?
I don't know.
That's strange.
Spanky the Keeper. I do appreciate everybody who defended us there.
Yeah.
First comment was, no one gives a fuck if you don't like it. And some people brought up the points like, you don't have to listen to this podcast. Like, I'm not saying it's great, and I'm not saying everybody's going to enjoy it. It's just funny now. If you don't like something, you just get to say, this fucking sucks. Like,
well, what if he was like arrested for something and like his court-ordered punishment was to like listen to every episode of this podcast? That would
I don't know how severe the crime would be, but I'm going to assume that this punishment would fit that crime.
Yeah, what would
the keeper?
Some unpaid parking tickets, maybe.
Right. Unpaid speeding.
Yeah.
Maybe being drunk in public.
Mm-hmm.
Urinating in public.
Yeah, all the things that both of us do.
Yeah, nothing too violent because I don't think this is that bad. And if I did, I wouldn't want to keep doing it with you every week. Yeah. I'll be curious to see if Spanky the Keeper listens to this episode. If you're around, go ahead and leave us another comment and let us know if we're improving.
Yeah, if he does, he's like a huge masochist because he said it's mind-numbingly boring. It's like, find something better to do, Spanky.
Right. Now, I'll admit, like, I make fun of shit on Twitter. Like, if I see a stupid article or something about NFL players, like, I like to say something funny or sarcastic.
Yeah.
But I don't think at least that I can remember, like me going to somebody's YouTube channel where they put out a video and just been like, this fucking sucks. Like, you ever do that, Will? Like, I'm curious.
No, I mean, maybe I'll start doing it, but I can't see how that would like improve my life in any way, shape, or form. So,
right, like if I watch a show I don't like, I just don't watch it anymore.
Yeah,
like, oh, this isn't for me.
I don't know. Like,
I don't write the director and be like, you know what? I like some of your other work, but this one,
yeah, this sucks. Let me break down every episode in full detail and why it sucks.
Like, and I respect criticism because usually, like, the criticism that stings the most are the people who are the nicest. They're like, I like most of your videos, but this one, like, you're just not good, or this wasn't funny. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, because then you know it's like kind of true.
And I'm open to criticism. Like, if you would have said, hey, it feels too long and boring. Maybe try doing this, like, to make it better. That would be great. Hopefully we can get some people to interview one day. But there's not a lot to talk about right now. Well, this week there is. So we're just learning. Okay, we'll get better. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
So take it away. What are we going to talk about first?
Okay. Well, before we get into the Broncos stuff, another Broncos thing. I didn't put it on the rundown or anything, but today's June 28th.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday to John Elway.
Happy birthday, John Elway. Is it just me, or are you, like, a little annoyed? Like, I follow a bunch of Bronco shit, on Twitter and Instagram, and every day that's a player's birthday, it's just, like, 50 fucking posts of happy birthday to this guy. And it's like, I'm glad it's their birthday, and I hope they have a happy birthday, but I don't need to see, 86 happy birthday Bradley Chubbs on my social media feeds. Maybe I gotta do some house cleaning.
It's just like happy birthday, Kenoy Kennedy.
Right.
It's like the next 50 Instagram posts.
I did retweet the NFL Network's tribute to John Elway for his birthday, though. So I'm just like, I'm a hypocrite.
All right.
I admit that.
All right. So I've got a confession to make right now.
Confession.
It is not only John Elway's birthday. It is my birthday.
Oh, shit. You were born on John Elway's birthday?
Or he was born on my birthday. No, it's the other way around.
He was born first. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a good 38 years on me.
How old are you?
36. 22 today.
22?
Yeah.
Were you leading Stanford to miraculous victories and projected to be the number one pick in the draft right now at age 22?
On what? On like NCAA football or just
in life, Will? The answer is obviously no, which means you are inferior to John Elway, is my point.
Power rank the three things that have happened on June 28th in history. First, my birth, most recent. Second, John Elway's birth. Third, the assassination of Austro-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Which started World War I.
Sparked World War I. What's the most important?
Historically speaking, World War I.
I was going to say Elway, but I was going to say
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it just for football fans.
Okay. Well,
people come here for no bullshit, Will. I'm not going to give up bullshit.
I mean, just speaking like myself, like most impactful to my life, probably I got to go my own birthday because,
yeah, well,
that's probably the most.
Where would you be? Precisely.
Then I think I go Elway. For me personally.
I mean, obviously, I talk about the Broncos for a living, so. Yeah. But I mean, if World War I goes a different way, are either of us born, Will? I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Okay, happy birthday, Will. Is that what you wanted from me?
Yeah, we can sing at the end.
Thanks for working on your birthday.
Yeah, I know. I do it. I do it for the content. I'm a big content boy. All right, let's get to some Broncos stuff.
Stop fucking around.
Yeah. So Chris Harris Jr., Broncos cornerback, compared Bradley Chubb to a young Khalil Mack. So do you think this is a fair comparison? Do you think it's way too early? Because yes, I kind of do.
It's way too early. And so far, okay, Von Miller compared Bradley Chubb to himself and Khalil Mack. DeMarcus Ware compared Bradley Chubb to DeMarcus Ware. And Chris Harris now compares him to Khalil Mack. So I'm guessing they think he's going to be a good outside linebacker. Sure. I think I also saw that Chris Harris predicted he thinks Chubb's going to be a starter this season, which I would imagine with your 5th overall pick, he's going to start. So, yeah, we all think Bradley Chubb's going to be good. If he turns out to be as good as Khalil Mack, we will be thrilled. But let's wait until mid-season to see where we evaluate Bradley Chubb being. Or at least watch one fucking preseason game.
Yeah, or just wait until the pads come on in training camp, which, by the way, is exactly a month from today.
Away, July 28th.
We only have a month more where we have to just make shit up to talk about. So, looking forward to it.
Okay, so now we've got, Von Miller came in ranked number 9 on the NFL top 100 list.
Yep.
A lot of people put a lot of stock in this. I don't think either you nor I do.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was number 1. And Von Miller said for people not to hate on Tom Brady, which is a message I cannot support. I don't agree with it at all. And I believe Tom Brady deserves every amount of hate he gets.
You think he's hey, guys, definitely don't hate on Tom Brady. Definitely don't spam his Instagram with snarky comments about how he's not really the best player.
Right. Do you think he's just subtly trolling him is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Telling people to do it? I wouldn't, you should never do that.
Yeah. A little reverse psychology.
Right.
I hope so. Or else, I don't know. I might lose a little bit of respect for Vaughn. But at the same time, Vaughn, he already knows that he's kind of like Tom Brady's dad, essentially. So
right, he beat Tom Brady twice in the playoffs.
Yeah, so it doesn't really help him to belittle a guy that.
No, I don't think he should belittle him. I just don't think he needed to go out of his way to defend one of the guys who's going to go down as one of the best players, in NFL history. Here's the thing, these lists, people want to use the top 100 to reinforce their idea that Brady is the greatest player of all time. There is no greatest football player of all time. There's just a bunch of dudes who you could all throw in that same category because more than I think basketball, football is such a team sport. It depends so heavily on so many other guys for sustained success. And the Patriots, I'll say they'll go down probably as, the greatest team of all time to be as consistent as they have. And I'm not trying to I normally try to take something away from Tom Brady, but right now I'm not. I think he's a great quarterback. I've never said he's a bad quarterback, but you could argue other quarterbacks do things better than him. He did it's just a stupid argument that people get views and clicks for, and maybe we should exploit that, but I just think it's fucking stupid. Yeah. The players barely take any time to consider it. What I think's cool about the NFL Top 100 is listening to players that they compete against talk about the things they think they do well on the field and why they think they're a tough competitor, and getting to see highlights from guys you might have missed during the season. I think it's a cool concept, but I don't think you should put too much weight into where players are actually ranked on the list. This is my point.
I mean, you just take it as this is you have to take it as strictly the player's opinion. Right. It's not a definitive list. It's just all right, the players think Tom Brady's number 1. The players think Julio Jones is number 4, etc. It's just the pure curiosity of it is just seeing how the players think about their peers.
And it's not every player. Every player's not voting on this. It's a handful from every team, right?
Yeah, and they only vote on their top 20.
10 or 20, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not even in terms of actually finding it. I want to know what the right guard from the Arizona Cardinals who he thinks is the best player in the league, and I don't even know his name or who he is.
That's Lyle Senline.
Is it?
I don't know. I think he played center for the Cardinals a couple years ago.
That would have been impressive.
I don't know who the right guard is. I'm not a fucking nerd.
The other interesting Broncos thing we saw this week, and you sent this to me.
Yeah.
Was a picture of a Raiders fan taking a statue of a horse from behind. So to put it more bluntly, he was pretend fucking that horse in the ass.
Yeah. Okay. So I did some digging into this guy's Twitter profile. I can't remember what his at was, but It's some generic Raider name.
Like at Raiders fan forever or some bullshit.
Yeah, Raiders fan 69. Yeah, and so like he was doing this thing where like he takes 3 days, and like the first day is like Chargers Day, so it's like, oh, Chokers Day. Post a bunch of shitty memes with like impact font making fun of the Chargers, and then he's like, all right, it's the Kansas City Chiefs Day, aka Chokes Day. He just like makes everything like chokes, and there's like some more like shitty memes, like making fun
for the Chargers, it's chokers. For the Chiefs,
it's just chokes. It's just chokes. But like obviously, Broncos doesn't start with a C, so he had to default to donkeys, which is a classic insult. And I'm
surprised he didn't go Bronc hose.
That's a good one.
The Bronc hose. I hear that one a lot.
That's interesting. I don't hate it. We're sex positive. So anyway, he decided to like roast all of Broncos Twitter by taking a picture of him fucking a statue of a horse.
Right. He showed us.
Yeah, he got us good.
Like,
definitely doesn't make him look like a guy who just like wants to have sex with a horse at all.
Right. I think the favorite thing you pointed out because you wrote an article about it for that'sgoodsports.com. Mm-hmm. I say it like it's a super official website now, but I like how you pointed out his decision making for the clothes he was wearing that day.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. So he's wearing a Lester Hayes jersey. Okay. He was wearing like cargo shorts that went down to his ankle, and then like white tube socks that I assume went up to his knees, although you couldn't see the whole thing.
Right. And so he basically decided he was no longer going to progress with fashion after the year 1992 or 3.
Correct.
He's like, this is it, not getting any better.
Yeah. I mean, I would
really like to see him appear on the next episode or in the next season of the rebooted Queer Eye for the Straight Guy series on Netflix.
Yeah, no,
where they go in and work with his wardrobe, maybe work through some of his issues of obviously like he hates a lot of things.
Right.
I think he would be a good candidate for that.
Hates choking, clearly.
So if you want to recommend him for that show, check out Will's article and then go to maybe the Queer Eye Twitter account or something. My wife's been watching that show. They actually do a pretty good job with the show.
It's a good show. Yeah.
It's about positivity, and I don't know. She said I would like it. I don't love it, but I like the message they're doing. Anyway, he's a prime candidate because I think he just needs a little love in his heart, Will.
I agree. And so hopefully like he and the horse are like doing well together.
Yeah, obviously anybody who wants to have sex with animals, like put them on TV. That's what I say.
Yeah, prop them up, encourage them. Definitely. Okay, so some more lighthearted stuff. So last week I talked about a subreddit called R. Kirk Cousins.
Right.
And how it's one of the weirdest subreddits that I've ever seen. So this is going back, like I first discovered this like a couple years ago, back when Kirk Cousins like went on his like big run to the playoffs, like the You Like That season.
Okay.
Where he was just unstoppable in the second half of the year. And some really weird stuff then. Most of it is about Kirk Cousins and his relationship with his wife, Julie, and a lot of posts specifically pertaining to the fact that Kirk Cousins definitely does not cheat on his wife.
Right.
Which I assume is true, but they mention that he doesn't cheat on his wife so often that it makes me a little suspicious, kind of like, like the lady doth protest too much, but
right.
Some interesting stuff. So I have some examples of some top posts, and I'm going to read them off. So this post is titled, Kirk Cousins Once Visited the Virgin Islands. And it says, when he left, nothing changed. They were still called the Virgin Islands. That's just the kind of guy Kirk is.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so another one. Okay, it's called, You Won't Believe It, but I saw Kirk on Tinder. And when you click on it, it says, and the reason you won't believe it is because it's entirely untrue. Kirk is faithful to Julie, and their relationship is a beautiful beacon of light.
How did this start? Like,
I have no idea.
It is really funny because it's just a bunch of people carrying on this like joke about like finding funny ways to reiterate that is a faithful husband, and we don't know if he is for sure. Like you said, probably not. But like,
some crazy stuff. Yeah, like here's another one. So this is more relevant. This pertains to his contract struggles with Redskins front office. So it's called, do you know what contract will never expire? The contract bound by love that Kirk and Julie signed when they married each other. Yep.
Yeah, it's like if you look, there's a post today. Does this look like a guy who would cheat on his wife? It's just a picture of Kirk and his wife.
I mean, I guess not.
The Skull Bros love you, Kirky boy.
Yeah, no, it's wild because, like, I think this was probably started by Redskins fans, and now, like, I don't know if they keep up with it now that he's in Minnesota.
Right. Vikings fans, it seems that they have
they, like, adopt it.
Taken it over.
Mm-hmm. Would have been really weird if he came to Denver because then, like, we'd have, like, the Broncos subreddit guys. Like, I guess, like, you inherit it when your team gets Kirk Cousins, maybe.
Right.
And you have to just keep the joke alive forever.
Yeah, just keep
until
it
he
going.
retires. Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird too. Like, it's decorated. There's like the banner is just like pictures of Kirk and his wife like throughout the years, like wedding photos.
Yeah, I think there's also like a lot of people who generally just want to post pictures of Kirk and his wife, like that don't get the joke as well.
Maybe. Like they're a very pleasant, nice looking couple. A cute kid.
Yeah, they call the marriage between Kirk and his wife the real royal wedding. I saw that a few times.
I agree. So yeah, one of the stranger things I've ever seen, and I just thought I'd point that out because
yeah, it's definitely worth looking at.
It's weird. It's a fun way to kill a few minutes.
A good sense of humor, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so you know what else is weird?
What?
Tom Brady's Instagram. Because so
you might be losing his mind.
I think like he's really struggling, like not going to minicamp, and like I think that took a toll on him mentally because so Barstool Sports posted a picture of two hippos, and one hippo is like eating out of or like drinking from some water, and the hippo behind him or her, I can't really tell, basically has his mouth on the hippo's butt. And the caption says, as soon as Bay gets out of shower, #ass-eating season. And Tom Brady.
So stupid.
Yeah. Tom Brady responded with 3 like laugh crying emojis and then yep. So we are.
And that's official. That's from his account. Yep. It's verified Tom Brady.
It's his only like social media account that he uses. So Tom Brady just said that like he eats Gisele's ass
after the shower.
Yeah.
That's a strange thing for a guy who's so like buttoned up and reserved about anything he's said or done. And now I'm starting to think the reason he destroyed his phone in the Deflategate was a very smart move by him.
Maybe some like POV videos or.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he was doing anything wrong or illegal or bad. It might just be weird shit him and Gisele were doing. Seeing like, I don't know, this caption by Barstool is just so fucking dumb. It makes me fucking hate that website. And I have asked to work there several times, dozens and dozens of times because
waiting on that
so
callback
and growing. And I feel like my stuff would fit there, but their social media stuff is so stupid.
Yeah.
That Tom and they do suck the Patriots wieners really hard.
They
really hard. So that's probably why Tom feels comfortable commenting on that post.
Yeah.
Just seems
does he like not know that people can see it? Does he not understand how Instagram works? Or?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He knows how every NFL defense works, but social media is a little tough for him.
Maybe he forgot to switch out of his burner account.
Maybe. If Tom doesn't play well this year, we will come back to this and say this is why.
Actually, I have a theory that Spanky the Keeper, it might be Tom's burner account.
Tom Brady. Spanky the Keeper is Tom Brady.
He does have a thing with butts, so.
I wish I could do a one-on-one interview with Tom.
One of these days. It's like, I really hope for the sake of his kid that Tom brushes his teeth regularly.
Fair enough.
Just because they do a lot of kissing.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's all basically the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. Yeah.
So now, I already made a video about, on the That's Good Sports channel about Janoris Jenkins' brother, William Jenkins. Today, the news came out that William Jenkins, they charged him with manslaughter. So they believe he killed Roosevelt Rene, Janoris Jenkins' friend. They were making music and stuff together. He was living at Jenkins' house. That they got in an argument, and William Jenkins strangled him and killed him, which is it's insane. Like,
yeah.
His older brother William had been in and out of jail for various things, so like he had a criminal record. Before they pressed charges on him, he was just named as a person of interest. So like I had to kind of redo my video yesterday because I was trying to be very careful not to accuse anybody of anything. I just thought it was a bizarre story, but that's what's happened there. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on it. It's pretty self-explanatory. I feel shitty. Like Janoris Jenkins, like his friend was killed by his brother. That is not a fun situation to be in. Really just shitty. And then moving on to Annabel Boleyn being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I did a video about that. And we had talked, I think it was the last episode when I put you on the spot and asked you what charity you would donate to, like if you were going to support a cause. I said Alzheimer's. So the timing was interesting. You picked you wanted. I guess
a children's hospital.
Children's hospital. Both noble things. So it's just shitty. Like two people diagnosed, for the Boleyn kids, both of their parents having to see them, go through that is not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. But my question to you with this, because we don't need to just need to harp on how terrible it is, but do you think this had anything to do maybe with Bette Boleyn trying to make her case for becoming the majority owner of the Broncos a month ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think it very well could have, because if you think about a month in the timeline of how the disease progresses.
Yeah, I'm sure they started to notice signs for a while.
Yeah, they might have even known about it for that long, the diagnosis itself before she decided to announce it, which she did along with Joe Ellis and the rest of the team. I don't know though, because it's not if and when she relinquishes control, it's basically in Joe Ellis's hands, which for the most part it is right now. Annabel Boleyn is involved with the organization.
She has no power in determining any of this. So it's in that I don't think it would have an effect on what they do, because it is in Joe Ellis and the two other trustees' hands. But I'm guessing, to me, Bette Boleyn, her wanting to make that move kind of came out of nowhere. And this is me just guessing, but I feel like this would have something to do with her motivating her to be okay, yes, I still want this. I want to carry on this legacy because now both of my parents are going to deal with this. And as a kid, I feel I would feel the same inclination if that were my parents and they left me with the Denver Broncos and then three people wouldn't give me the Denver Broncos.
Oh yeah, I'd totally try to own them if I could.
Have you seen the show HBO? What's it called? Succession. It's about a powerful media owner who's.
Oh, I've seen I haven't seen the show. I know what you're talking about though.
I watched the first episode of that, and it makes me feel it's different because the dad in that's an asshole who doesn't want to give his kids the company. Pat Bowlen was just trying to protect his business until one of his kids was qualified. But it's similar with the stakes that are there and the dynamics of what might be happening kind of behind the scenes. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like that joke from Step Brothers where John C. Reilly tells his dad I want to go into the family business. He's I'm a doctor.
Right.
Yeah. It's there's no succession there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yeah, first of all, it makes me a little upset that my dad doesn't have like a sports franchise to pass down to me at this point yet. We could always get like a minor league team or something, I guess. Little pocket change on the side. But yeah, it makes for an interesting power struggle coming up for sure. Which I'm sure will be legal and drawn out. Yeah, for several years.
Okay, so, and I don't even want to fucking talk about this, but I feel like I have to after all the research I did about this NFL suspending Jameis Winston for 3 games. Right.
Okay,
so I believe the NFL has said the suspension will be 3 games. This morning it was still like supposed, but it's a 3.
I think it's official, yeah.
Jameis Winston is not going to appeal this. It was an agreement reached between the NFLPA and the NFL. So right now I hold the NFLPA just as accountable in this blunder, if you will, because the first problem, just on the surface, okay, Jameis Winston has been accused of grabbing an Uber driver's crotch at like 2 a.m. in the Uber. I think he apologized. I wasn't able to track down whether he admitted to doing it or not, but said he apologized, said he was drinking. It's not part of his normal behavior, but I think he pretty much admitted doing it. The woman, she initially just reported this to Uber, saying like, this guy is not a safe client to have in the cars. She's not seeking any money. All she wanted was to make sure he wasn't in a car with another woman.
Right.
Uber banned Jameis Winston for life, so he can't use Uber. And the NFL looked at him sexually assaulting a woman and said, you know what, 3 games. We get 4 game suspensions for players who smoke weed, and they get 3 strikes with weed, okay? But 4 games for smoking weed, 3 games for grabbing a woman's crotch.
Right.
4 games for PEDs, 3 games for crotch grab.
It's definitely a bad look for the league. And I'm not going to – yeah.
Especially because they've been through this before.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm going to just try to explain the rationale, I think, which has to do with the NFLPA as well. So they collectively bargained for this in 2010, that the NFL can suspend a player for misconduct, personal misconduct, outside, basically outside the jurisdiction, or not the jurisdiction, but off the field, essentially.
Conduct deemed detrimental to the league, right?
Right.
Phrase they use a lot.
So they can suspend them basically regardless of whatever happens legally, whatever happens in a court of law.
Right.
So with something like, I don't know, testing positive for weed, so there's no like due process really in that case, and there's no doubt going on. It's like either you test positive or you didn't. Right? It's not like an ongoing trial or anything. So that's certain. And they have like a framework in place that says, all right, first offense, like you've got 4 games or whatever it is, 6 games. I can't remember. But with something like this, I think the NFL probably would want to suspend Jameis Winston for a season. But the NFLPA would lose their minds because they're advocating on behalf of the players, and they have to try to defend their due process to the best extent that they can, regardless basically of, whether, Jameis Winston did it or not. Like the NFLPA in this situation is like their lawyer to the NFL. Like they're Jameis's advocate, and they're basically defending him. And they probably did a lot to negotiate this to 3 games based on prior incidents, the Ezekiel Elliott stuff.
Ezekiel Elliott was suspended 6 games.
Right. But that was probably, I don't know, it was probably brought up, I think.
And wasn't it supposed to be if a player was, I don't know if it's accused or if they have to be convicted of assault or sexual assault, sexual harassment, that the mandatory minimum is 6 games? Wasn't that concluded like after all the Ray Rice shit the Josh Brown shit, all the issues they've had with domestic violence and different things. So like, wouldn't.
Okay. Yeah. Right. But the thing is, like, so take the Rueben Foster case, for example.
Right.
So Rueben Foster was accused of domestic violence, and then the person who accused him recanted their story.
Right.
And so
they did that after I made a shitty joke about it in my madness.
Yeah.
And I haven't apologized to Rueben Foster yet.
He might be Spanky the Keeper.
He might be Spanky the Keeper.
Mr. Keeper.
But like,
I'm sorry.
I didn't do like any in-depth research on that situation. I just tossed out a joke. But continue. Sorry.
So I think where they screwed up in this case was if it was an isolated incident and, you know, basically like the case was pending, I think 3 games is fair for
like waiting to see what
situation. Yeah.
Out, right? So you're saying like this might not be the final result of this. This is just
hopefully
this is what they agreed upon, and then if but this like I don't think this is I'd have to look. Is the woman, she's not pressing charges from this, right?
I'm not sure. I know I first read about this story like months ago. Like this isn't something that just came to light. This has been a story. Like I think this like came out in the middle of the season, and I think like this incident dates back.
It was 2016.
Yeah. So this has been going on for a while. I don't know if the law is involved.
Okay.
At this point.
Because I don't believe she is pressing charges.
I think actually no. So I think why the story came back up is because one of the people that Jameis Winston said was in the car with him was not in the car and said that no one was in the car with Jameis when it happened. Which
it was another player defended him, but that player got out of the car before any of this happened. So,
which is a really, really bad look for Jameis. And the NFL's like, now we have to punish you, basically. Because more than likely something happened.
Right.
If you're covering it up.
Okay. So which leads me to and I'm glad you presented that the way you did, because I get why the NFLPA is in place. And for, I would say 95% of these cases, I'm going to agree with them, you know, doing everything they can to defend the players. Yeah. But the point you hit on that I think is true for this is Jameis Winston has a track record of this. When he was in college at FSU, he was accused of rape, a case that was settled by him and the college. Which usually when a case like that is settled, the reason it happens is because the defense believes if that goes to a trial and jury that the person will be found guilty. So he's accused of rape in college. Another woman at FSU, sorry, I'm getting all this information too from this New York Times article, and everybody I think knew about the rape accusations about Winston at FSU. I didn't research it at the time. That was like 2013, 2014. I was mostly just talking about the Broncos. So I knew very little about it. Hold on, I'm just trying to get to my notes here. Okay, a month before those rape accusations became public, a second woman had sought counseling after a sexual encounter with Jameis Winston. So this is a woman who didn't know about the case, who said he didn't rape her, but that the experience wasn't right and it was traumatic where she needed counseling after it. At some point, he stole crab legs from a store. I'm assuming he sexually assaulted those two. And then in 2016, he grabs an Uber driver's crotch. So there's a history here. And then if you read this New York Times article, which is called "The Star Player Accused and a Flawed Rape Investigation," I think it will open your mind to the fact that Jameis Winston should not be in the NFL, and that based on everything I've read in this, it looks like he committed all of these crimes. After the rape was reported it looks like the police in Florida and the university did what they could to basically push this under the rug. They had DNA from the victim. They had DNA of the person who assaulted her. They did not test him for that at the time. Much later, they tested him, and his DNA matched that. So he definitely had sex with this woman. I think he claimed that it was consensual. But when there is a track record of this, when I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have had access to all of this information before they drafted him, like, I don't think he should be playing in the NFL. I don't think women make shit up like this. You know what I mean? Like, the majority, the Rueben Foster thing makes it you want to have all the information, and you don't want to crucify somebody who's innocent. But I think there's information here that you should just read it for yourself, because I think it's pretty damning of Jameis Winston. It made me sick reading it today. But what I was saying, like, Rueben Foster's thing, like, the girlfriend recanted everything she said and said she was trying to get money out of him. And I think a lot of people just assume, like, that's what's happening here with Jameis Winston. But if you look at the evidence, I don't think you can walk away from this and see that. And I think it's a problem on so many levels, and it's a failure of the criminal justice system. It's a failure of universities being more willing to protect their bottom line than students attending the university, and a failure of the NFL to, allow this guy to play in their league when they make such an issue about wanting only certain type of high character people representing as a whole. I don't know. There's obviously the only people who know the real truth are the people involved in the situation. But like I said, I think in a week span, I didn't really have thoughts on Jameis Winston because I didn't do this research enough. And, like, it's sad to, like, say this, but you forget about shit like this. You forget, like, only thing I really remembered was that he stole crab legs and got a bad rap for that. You know what I mean? Like, I forgot about this, and that's sad because there's so much bullshit. There's so much news. There's so many things, like, to be distracted by that. And it's not our job to police this shit either, but when you see bullshit, I don't know. I feel like I had to talk about it a little bit, and at least, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, the thing that kind of, I think, excludes him from getting the benefit of the doubt, which you would give to someone who hadn't done anything at all prior to this, is just the track record and the fact that this is, like, the third incident of the kind. Time. Yeah. And then there's, like, it makes, obviously, like, the crab leg stuff look just, like, silly and juvenile. And then, well, he kind of does make, like, the thing where he stood up in the student union and yelled, basically, like, fuck her in the pussy. It just makes that look, like, really, really tone deaf, because that was after all the accusation stuff. It makes him look especially, like, immature, and, like, he even to say, like, if he had been proven innocent, like, that's just
which
extremely.
He settled the case.
But yeah, like, had he been, and he's still done that, that's, like, extremely just immature and tone deaf, and, like, it's like you're not taking it seriously.
No, it's.
And so I think, like, even if he's obviously, so he's entering his fourth year,
right?
He's not going to get another contract with the Buccaneers, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's, I don't know. We obviously live in a different world than people running a football organization.
Yeah.
But if I owned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and he would be gone. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have drafted him because I would have known enough to be like, do research on this. I would have had people dig deep on it and be like, oh, this is not the type of guy I want playing for us. But I would be cutting ties with him right now.
Or even if there's, like, the shred of doubt at the time, like, with the draft, you know all this stuff, and even if you don't want to say for a fact, like, well, we know he's a bad guy, You say like, well, just because like there's the question there, we're gonna take Mariota at 1 instead of
right. I forgot they picked 1
like from a football decision. Yeah, it's not like the Titans took Mariota and it's like, all right, well, we need a quarterback and Jameis is here. It's like no, they actively took Jameis Winston over Marcus Mariota.
They would have worried more about whether or not Winston had a fucking knee injury his sophomore season. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about that knee.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just stupid. Like you expect people to, I don't know, maybe put their morality before the bottom line, but it doesn't happen.
Well, I think teams tend to, and this happens in all sports too.
Right. It's not just the Buccaneers.
It dates back to like Kobe Bryant and everything. Like teams will, if there is doubt related to this, they will hide behind the doubt. And obviously, it was something like Aaron Hernandez. Like, it was so cut and dry that, like, the Patriots were like, all right, well, he's just gone. One of the only correct decisions that they made in the last 10 years. They did the right thing and released Aaron Hernandez before he went to trial or anything. But where they're like, if we can get away with, like, saying, well, we don't know for sure, then we can keep him because we can say, well,
they can plead
we're going to let due process play out, or, you know, we want all the facts to come out, which I think it goes back to like, had this been an isolated incident, I think it would be justifiable for the Buccaneers to say, you know, all right, we're going to sit and wait and we're going to find out what really happened. And we're going to let the court of law take precedence over the court of public opinion when it comes to deciding Jameis's future with the team. However, knowing what they know and knowing his history and knowing that this seems to be a pattern, adding to an already really spotty track record, it makes sense to just like get rid of him.
Right. Yeah, and it's like I understand like you want to be fair to players because I think sometimes unfairly they have things put on them you know, that they don't necessarily deserve. And it's all about really doing your research on these sort of things. And, you know, also like not like, I believe in giving people second chances, not for rape, but, like for a lot of things, like you don't want to basically ruin somebody's opportunity who spent their whole life working to get to this point, based on false information or stuff you can't prove. So, you know, like I understand that it wouldn't be that it would be a very difficult like thing to evaluate, but you're right there. I don't know. The track record's there. It's, there's just different ways I think you could handle it. And I think now more than ever, teams are going to be more and more aware of these things, and hopefully it helps in some way. I don't know if it will, but like you brought up Aaron Hernandez, and like God knows I've made my fair share of Aaron Hernandez jokes, but like after he died and they find, you know, one of the most severe cases of CTE they've ever seen and somebody observed for it, it makes like playing the sport and anything that might be violence related that much more of a gray area, because it's like, was Aaron Hernandez inherently a violent person, or was part of maybe all of the reason he turned that way because he played fucking football? It's insane. Like, you have some empathy towards that situation, you know, as to prior just being like, oh yeah, he fucking killed somebody, whatever. Like, I don't care. But I don't know. And stuff like this is so serious. It's not like a weed case or a player getting drunk and doing something stupid that doesn't hurt anybody. Like, there's nothing to make fun of here. And all I really want to do is make fun of shit and talk football. But I don't know. I hope we addressed it in a way that was informative, I guess. I don't fucking know. I'm not smart enough to be like somebody who I feel like after they listen to me talk about this and you talk about this, be like, you know what? They've made some really great points, and I feel better about it. Like,
I don't know. They might, like, because like I haven't heard many other people bring up the stuff that you did that you found in that New York Times article. which I think adds a lot to the situation. Clearly, like we all knew about the previous accusations, but we didn't know like to what extent were they credible, and we didn't know about the other thing, like the counseling thing, and that just like that adds a lot to it, and it paints a different picture, and it changes a lot, and it changes the perception of this case and this situation.
Yeah,
both for
me,
the team and the league.
It's read that article. It's really long. It's disturbing. This whole week, like I've just read news. I'm just like, I don't want to talk about this today. Like,
yeah,
give me Tom Brady talking about eating ass on Instagram all day.
Yeah,
bullshit.
We span like the entire spectrum of emotions on this show.
We hit a big spectrum today.
Yeah.
I think we've done a decent time too. I don't think we went too long.
No, I don't think so. Okay, really quick. Like, you want to finish this off by like saying like what this means football wise for the Buccaneers, assuming that like he doesn't play this season.
Yeah, like from an actual football perspective.
Yeah.
Who's their backup quarterback? I don't even know.
It's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, it is. It's Fitzpatrick.
Of course.
Because they were on Hard Knocks, and they had CU alum Sefa Lufau for a while. He might be on the practice squad there. I don't know. And I don't think Jameis Winston's a great quarterback.
I don't either.
He throws for a lot of yards. He's one of those guys who I think can compile stats, but when you watch him play, like he's just like a mid-level QB. Mm-hmm. So if the Buccaneers have to move on,
I don't think it's the worst thing, really.
Yeah. I think Fitzpatrick's not the answer, and I believed in Fitzpatrick in his one really great season in New York when he was old and throwing touchdowns to Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. I was like, hey, if the Broncos want Fitzmagic, I'll take some Fitzmagic. But
yeah, that glorious beard.
He started throwing too many interceptions. I
don't know. Maybe it's the cycle because, like, Ryan Patrick's career has been very cyclical. Like, when you expect him to do well, he disappoints. But then, like, when you're expecting nothing out of him, like that Jets season, like Geno Smith gets punched in the jaw. Suddenly he can't play. We're like, oh, I guess we got to go with Fitzpatrick. Suddenly he's incredible. He has a career year. Like, as a Pro Bowler, he's fantastic. Almost leads the Jets to the playoffs. In hindsight, a pretty great achievement considering what's happened since.
That was such a weird story.
Maybe he comes back. Yeah, maybe he has a little Fitz renaissance. But I think if I were the Buccaneers –
they'll call Jay Cutler. Yeah. I call Jay Cutler.
I don't know. I was thinking maybe call the Eagles, Nick Foles.
What could Tampa Bay give Philadelphia that would be appealing to them besides Gerald McCoy, who would be awesome to see on that Eagles defensive line? Like,
yeah, he'd be like a
Mike Evans. Fucking Eagles, Mike Evans.
Yeah, could give him Deshaun Jackson back.
Oh, that would be interesting too.
It would probably be like a second rounder, I think, plus maybe a player, because their first rounder is too high, I think, for the Bucs, just because, like, knowing what they know now,
they might be trying to get a quarterback.
That and like it's going to be a pretty high first round pick,
right?
Like if they don't have their starting quarterback, like they could easily be like 5th overall. Like
I think trying to trade for Nick Foles would be smart. Mm-hmm. I think Tampa has potential with the defense there.
Yeah.
Nick Foles with Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, OJ. Okay, Tampa Bay could give the Eagles a tight end. They could give them Cameron Brate to pair with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. So there's that. I would get rid of Winston if I were the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I would too.
Maybe a corner. Ooh, Brent Grimes would be decent in Philly.
Yeah, because the Eagles don't have like Daryl Morley
lost their corner.
Anymore.
They lost. I just talked about him in his. Patrick Robinson.
Yeah, I watched the videos. Come on.
Okay, so that's. Yeah, I don't think this is good for Tampa Bay.
No.
I'll be rooting for Ryan Fitzpatrick. I always have liked him because of our beards. And
he went to Harvard. Did you know that?
Yeah. Did you know he went to Harvard?
Yeah, he actually went to Harvard.
Dude, they don't ever mention that when he plays football, right?
No. Here's another thing.
He's not like this, but the mention of Harvard is like Andy from The Office mentioning Cornell.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's like, except it's just like every CBS commentator.
Right. Yeah, it's the commentators doing it for him.
Yeah. Also, Antonio Gates played basketball in college. Just thought I'd throw that in there too.
Right. I forget that.
Yeah. We need to raise awareness.
Has he signed with the Chargers yet? Is he?
I think they're just like flirting.
Okay. They're gonna wait till training camp after. He probably doesn't want to do training camp.
They're gonna. You always knew they were gonna get back together. Those two.
Yeah, it's like a high school couple.
It's like Ross and Rachel from Friends.
Right.
You know.
I fucking hate Ross, but that's a different podcast.
Next week.
He's like my least favorite character. Okay, anyway, thank you guys for listening. Will is on Twitter at Will Keys 6.
It's true.
Again, please, if you made it this far, go to iTunes, give us a review for the That's Good Sports podcast. We're on Podbean, so you can download and listen to this like a real guy podcast. That link is in the description, and we'll be back again next week, I think.
Oh, okay. Can we give the people like a hashtag to let us know that they made it this far? How about hashtag Spanky?
Hashtag Spanky, yes.
Hashtag Spanky.
And if Spanky hashtag Spanky, I'm going to have a lot of respect for him.
That'll be great.
All right, see you guys.